The terrors of war and strife in the present and past centuries have more or less had the same needs: a cause, money, and bodies, fighting a human-shaped ideology. And I bet you were wondering why I didn't mention weapons, because humanity has proven for centuries that when it comes down to it, you don't need them, but they sure as hell make them more efficient to exterminate what you need to. But now we live in the present and we know how wars are fought and how they were fought. But how about future wars and how they'll be fought and why they'll be fought? It's quite a simple answer, and they will be continued to be fought with reason, money, and bodies. If you don't follow, let me give you an example of an old adage. What the American people call a demon communism. It is not the fact that people are afraid of the idea, more or less they are afraid of the people that are behind it, which is why Americans proceed to call it a demon. And which is why when we're opposed to that and many other things, we as a society call it so, because intelligent and corrupt people can make an idea perverse. Because again, we are not afraid of the idea. It is not tangible. We are simply afraid of the people behind the demons, especially to a religion, heresy, blasphemy, a demon. It must be exterminated. Picture this. This is the year 2537. You wake up peacefully to the sound of your mother and father talking softly, frantically but softly, along with the colonial news network frantically reporting in the next room. At your adolescent age of 6, you are curious to what possibly could be so dire happening to your quiet outer colony planet. This is awful. We're reporting live from the capital and along from other major cities across the planet. Several cruisers loom across the skies. They have found us. You ask your mother, who are they? What do they want? And why won't they leave us alone? She quietly whispers, Extinction. Now picture this. Your house, your home, burning. The only place you've ever called home is now ashes of its former self. Simply timbers and brimstone as it violently returns to the soil. Your family escaped as your home slightly prevented the instant annihilation from low-orbit plasma bombardment. You hear the screams of people around you, but it is the whirling sound of invading ships is what's deafening. Your family tries to run knowing it damn well won't save them, knowing that they're about to be exterminated like vermin, knowing if the ground troops won't get them, that a hot vaporizing laser will. Our doom, our annihilation, our extinction. You're coughing, clawing, grasping, gasping, wheezing, clinging, but you're still breathing. Whether that's fortunate, that's all up to perspective. Your movement is sloppy, your hearing is blinding, and your vision is deafening. You stumble to find your parents. The sky is a molten haze, the temperature is immense. You feel like you're in hell, but hell is what your vision will behold you next. You see something within the chaos, the brimstone. Three somethings, three human-shaped somethings. One is unusually taller than the others, but it's something, finally something, of familiarity. But that feeling of brief relief is now replaced with the crackle of gas and the summoning of a plasma blade. They say that sword is supposed to be held, wielded, by the holiest of their society. However, the fact that they came down here to slaughter us made this extinction more personal. And now it was more personal to me to get back at them. Extinction. It is ironic that we, as a species, have driven so many others that we have not deemed not worth saving, or didn't care to save because we perceived them as vermin. Now that we are in the perspective of vermin, cowering in the mud like rats, I guess humanity's tenacity will have a thing to prove. However, unlike many expired species, this one has a chance for vengeance. We, the vermin in the mud, multiplied like the vermin we were, growing in numbers supplied by vengeance instead of the need to survive. Colonial Ackerson was the driving force of this generation of super soldiers, the Spartan IIIs. Instead of being hand-selected children stolen from their homes in the dead of night, instead, we had our homes stolen and glassed in the dead of night, and were hand-selected by our own vengeance. Unlike our hand-selected comrades, the Spartan IIs, with the lead of Dr. Halsey, powered and protected by the revolutionary Mjolnir armor system, we, the Spartan IIIs, had to make a compromise to meet the war effort to prevent our own extinction. Now I ask myself constantly, what was the point of making these cheap armor knockoffs when hot plasma is just going to melt right through them? Every mission was essentially suicide for we, the vermin. I was one of the lucky ones. Consistently, my brothers and sisters in arms were exterminated by Sanghili, Jerhani, Ungoy, Megalit Golo, Kigyar, all of them, misled by a false religion and guided by false prophets. I bet you're curious why I'm using their technical names instead of calling them their field names. Well, few Spartan IIIs live long enough to encounter all the species, let alone know their technical names. So I thought I might as well just learn what I can about them, so I can be efficient when I hunt them to extinction. However, clawing, grasping, gasping, wheezing, clinging, and breathing upon this cursed and burnt air, I ask myself again, because it is apparent that we have been damned due to a heresy we have not known we have conceived. That we are pests, demons, and we are detrimental to the status quo of a false religion. And now we live in fear of the glassing of planets and our skies on fire. I fear what is coming. And it's not the pain of a hailstorm of plasma onslaught. It is not the starving of our food and land and resources. It is the extinction of the human spirit, burnt to a crisp. As these so-called holy men, these zealots, these zealots, burn our soil to ash. Some don't even believe in the false ideology, they simply love the spillage of blood. Others are pirates, and some are unfortunately drafted and forced into a gospel, even as children. Even as children. I feel for them as I would feel for my own children, slaves to their own ignorance and lack of competence, truly led to them being cannon fodder. However, I cannot be too forgiving. They've all called us vermin, demons, food, pests. Now, I am the only one left with Mjolnir-powered armor left here on Reach. My shields, they won't recharge. My armor is riddled with plasma burns. My visor is shattered and I can feel the brittle and searing air grip my face. I don't need a mirror to see that the dust and ash has now seared my face. However, at least I am now face to face with extinction.